Hi, welcome to Biblical Foundations 101. My name is Brother Jimmy Hayes. I did a video, my very first video on Biblical Foundations 101. It was on what I believe is the hypothesis of evolution. I'd like to take this time to update that video. I think that since that was my first video, I was extremely nervous, and I really think that I've been studying the subject for 9 years, and I think I could have done better, and I'm going to do better right now. So I do have some things written down. Actually, a note that I'm going to be sending, which is rather long, that I'm going to be sending to school with my daughter tomorrow. So I'm going to use the note as my template for this video. Okay. Evolution doesn't even meet the qualifications for a theory. It's a hypothesis at best. The definition of science is knowledge gained through observation, and it must be testable in a laboratory. To prove I'm not a fool, not to bore you, I'll explain the difference between a hypothesis and a theory. A hypothesis is an idea. The idea must be tested in a laboratory, and it has to be observable and until a desired result is accomplished. At that time, the experiment must be repeated and observed in several independent laboratories. When the desired result and observed in several independent laboratories. When and if the desired result of the hypothesis is observed and confirmed in independent laboratories, the hypothesis becomes a theory. On that ground, evolutionism is not more than a hypothesis. Then people go on to say, well, we've observed, evolution in the laboratory with fruit flies. This is not true. Okay, it is true that they use fruit flies in the laboratory. Okay, the reason that they use fruit flies is because the fruit fly has a very short lifespan, and they can test hundreds, if not thousands, of generations of these fruit flies. Unfortunately for the evolutionary scientists, all they ever get is a fly. Okay, they don't get anything more than a fly. They test these creatures, these insects, with radiation, chemicals, whatever they hit these things with. Okay, all they get is a fly. Sometimes they get flies with less legs, sometimes more legs, sometimes one wing, sometimes three wings. Whatever they get is still a fly. Okay, they never get anything other than a fruit fly. Now I'm going to go on to the fact that evolution is a religion. Now, I believe that the name of my first video was Evolution is a Religion, and I can prove it. Okay, now I'm going to go through it again. To truly believe in evolution, one must embrace the whole theory. Okay, not just microevolution slowly turning into macroevolution like the public schools are forced to teach, or should I say indoctrinate. I'll start at the top. Cosmic evolution, which they call the Big Bang. The best scientists can tell. They hypothesize that 14 billion years ago there was a singularity. A singularity is a point at which function takes an infinite value, especially in space-time where matter is infinitely dense, as at the center of a black hole. This singularity is infinite. Unobservable, unprovable, infinitely dense thing that scientists have no proof of ever existed. It exploded. Now, if you want to believe that the universe began this way, that's fine. You can believe it, but that's not science. Okay, it's faith. The truth is, scientists were not there to see the Big Bang. Okay, nobody has ever seen a singularity. There's no proof that there's such a thing as a singularity. I'm trying to think of the other string theory, and there's all these different theories that are coming out right now that are making Darwin's theory even look like it's not Darwin. Einstein's general relativity theory. Not look, Okay, but this sounds impressive. There's not a single shred of evidence. Even the redshift has been called into question due to Halton Arp's discovery of a connected pair of quasars with two vastly different redshifts. That was called into question by a gentleman from Australia concerning this that I had remarked on. I wanted to make sure that I put the gentleman's name. His name is Halton, Halton, Arp, A-R-P. He discovered a pair of quasars. I suppose the quasars are two stars really, really close. Their redshift was, even though they're close, the redshifts were vastly different. So this throws the whole redshift theory of where they think that the universe and all this, it's not true. And I want people to know the truth is that I love science. I love watching shows like the Universe and their CGI of the universe, computer generated images, and what it's like out there. But the truth is we don't know anything. Okay, if you choose to believe the Big Bang, it's a choice based on no scientific evidence. It's not fact. I mean, it all comes out of somebody's imagination. It does. I love watching it, but it's not true. Okay. So after the Big Bang comes chemical evolution. Okay, because chemical evolution. The Big Bang supposedly created large amounts of hydrogen and some helium. Okay. This singularity, this place of infinitely dense matter, exploded and created gas. Infinitely dense matter has never been observed, let alone it exploding into gas form. Again, anyone is free to believe this, but it's not scientific. If you must believe it, then it's based on faith. Number 3, that's the next one. It would be stellar or planetary evolution. Okay. The evolutionary theory claims that the hydrogen and helium that formed the first stars, the hydrogen and helium formed the first stars somehow. We don't know how. Okay. As these stars would nova, they supposedly created the heavier elements that created the bigger stars that made the heavier elements as they novaed, and so on. As novas and supernovas happened, these heavier elements created the planets, and at some time created the compounds that evolutionary scientists would claim billions of years later through their impossible RNA world theory that, which is just another hypothesis, would spawn all life on Earth. The truth today is that as a race, the human race, we've never seen a star be born, ever. I mean, our best telescopes see bright spots. We don't even know how that would work. I mean, how does that work? First off, there's gravity out there. Where's gravity down on Earth? What does gravity do? Does gravity all of a sudden just like really get in one super spot all of a sudden and just pull everything together out in the middle of nowhere? We don't know. Nobody knows. How does that do that? That doesn't make sense. Okay, nobody has seen it. The Discovery Channel shows really cool computer-generated images of stars being born and their planets forming around them. It's never been observed. Everything we see on the Discovery Channel comes straight out of someone's imagination. The truth is, we aren't even sure how many planets there are in our own solar system, and that's the truth. We don't know how many planets are in our solar system. Again, if anyone wants to believe that stars and planets all evolved from hydrogen and some helium gas, that's fine. It's not science, it's faith. Then there's organic evolution, the origin of life. To my knowledge, and I keep up on this is the latest theory, again in reality a hypothesis, is RNA, which is ribonucleic acid world. It's called RNA world. This theory can be rather deep. However, to make it short, somehow, I'm going to try to make it short. Somehow scientists want us to believe that somehow in the waters of the earth, RNA was introduced. There are two problems with this. First, DNA and RNA are very similar. However, RNA is much more fragile. In the human body, it is known that strands of DNA break up to 1 million times a day. However, DNA has the ability to repair itself. RNA does not. The other apparent secret, because it's rarely mentioned, is that RNA always needs a protein. Along with the fact that RNA is very fragile, the RNA world theory for origins of life on Earth would be numerically impossible. Even if all the conditions fell perfectly into place with the RNA, somehow a working protein would also have to somehow create itself in this water world and join with the RNA and somehow, without being first destroyed, self-replicate. This actually falls under Borel's law, the law named after the mathematician Emile Borel. Borel's law, believe me when I tell you, anything that is that's over 1 to 10 to the 50th power. Okay, so 1, 10. With 50 zeros after it, it's literally considered absurd. That's the word that's used in the law. It's absurd. There's no chance. Believe me, this is well over that. There's absolutely no chance. I mean, if for this to just accidentally form in whatever the oceans of the planet, okay, for everything to happen perfectly at one time. Now, RNA being so fragile, for a protein to happen by chance, the whole ocean of the world, for RNA to somehow by itself form an RNA, which is not possible. I mean, you know, it's like a DNA cell. You know, it's just that it's RNA, and for this one protein to somehow form by itself and it's floating around in the oceans of the world, they happen to meet, you know, but yet they don't somehow get destroyed in the process, you know. I mean, come on, it's absurd. Somehow, first this actually falls under Borel's law. If someone wants to believe this against all odds, feel free, but it's certainly not science, it's faith. Macroevolution, excuse me, the lie, okay? This is the big one, okay? Here's where the teaching stops and the indoctrination begins. I could simply say that if Charles Darwin were alive today, he wouldn't believe in the theory named after him. Darwin himself was relying on fossil evidence, a true intermediary fossil to be dug up. He expected it within the next 100 years of his life. Contrary to anything that anyone says, there has never been a single intermediary fossil animal ever found. This is the truth. I have DVDs with the best, I guess if I ever have to make a backup or another one of these, I'll have to bring the DVDs out and list these guys. I should have done that for this. There are honest evolutionary scientists, okay, who will say they've not found the missing link. It's not there. This ain't about between the humans, the hominids, and that. There are no intermediary fossils. Okay, there is not any fossils of any animal slowly turning into another animal. And if that's how it worked, there would literally be billions of fossils of animals turning into something else. There isn't a single one. You know, they want to use Archaeopteryx. No, it's an extinct bird. Archaeopteryx is an extinct bird. You know, now you can go into a museum, okay, and I have over $1,500 in a DVD set when it comes to evolution and creation, okay. And I've seen them all multiple times. I have books like you wouldn't believe I study. The two I like to talk about the most with evolutionists are Michael Behe's Darwin's Black Box, and I think his name is Dr. Michael Denton. He did Evolutionist, A Theory in Crisis. Both are evolutionists. Okay, spend the $40 for the books, and when you're done, I think you'll have less to brag about, But before you come and really get aggressive with me, spend your time, take your time to show yourself approved, like the Bible says you should, like I have, and take the time to study and see that these things aren't. Try to see what the cell is. Really find out what Michael Behe says about the cell, and irreducible complexity. Even Darwin talked about the eyeball, about the eye. I mean, how did that form? See, something like the eye, the human eye, because of what it does, it had to be whole. It was created whole, just like God says He created. That's how it has to be. Something like the eye, as delicate as it is, couldn't have simply evolved because it had the human eye. I don't even know how to explain it. It has such purpose. See, evolution, the way that Darwin explained it, is random. Okay, it doesn't have purpose. Therefore, something like the eye, which is, designed, for what it does, Darwin's theory couldn't do that. It just simply can't. It's, if you'd ever, I don't know who would see such a video. I mean, a video of mine, but it's just not possible. It's just not possible for the eye, for something like the human eye, to accidentally form. And then I could even choose to get deeper and talk about the fact that we're sentient as compared to other animals on the planet. The fact that we know that we're here. That's called the sentient part of us. The fact that we know, that's called the human soul. Animals don't have souls. Okay, when we hear ourselves talk, when we weep, when we laugh, everything that who we are, that's the soul, the sentient part. Okay, that's the part that goes to heaven or hell. Then the Bible says that the body without the spirit, when the body without the spirit is dead. Okay, the spirit, the spirit is what gives us life. When the spirit leaves the body, we're no longer animated. Okay, when you go to a funeral home and you see that person, you see like a lump of clay. That's because the spirit has left the body. But the spirit has nothing to do with who you are. That's just the sentient being is the soul, is who you are. The sentient being is the one that doesn't get destroyed. That who you are goes on forever. I mean, your thoughts, everything that you are goes on forever. That's who God created. That's who you are. That's the one that will exist eternally. Okay. Sorry I got off subject, but I do that sometimes. But anyways, going back on, they've never found anything, and then I continue to go on. I studied this subject for 9 years, I can't begin to tell you all the lies and hoaxes that people do to keep this evolutionary worldview alive. The geologic column that's taught in the textbooks today doesn't exist anywhere on Earth, but perhaps in 3 places. The whole dating system, even today, is based on circular reasoning. Geologists use what is called index fossils. They assume the age of these fossils by how deep they find them. When they want to know the age of the rock strata, they determine that by the fossils they find there. They date the fossils by the rock and the rock by the fossils. It's nonsense. There has never ever been a fossil found of one animal ever evolving into another, an intermediary fossil. For example, okay, and I'll go into talk about that's like finding, you know what an intermediary fossil would look like. And I think I mentioned in my first video. It would be like a cow, then a cow, then a cow slowly, front legs slowly turning into flippers, And then you find like all these fossils, and I guess according to them in different rock strata, which we know that doesn't work anyway. And then I get into that, when we start to talk about uniformitarianism, there would be no fossils at all if it was uniformitarianism. None. 200 or 150 years ago to 200 years ago, there was I don't even know, was it 200 million? Or whatever, American bison on the Great Plains. White man come and shot them all down. Killed them all. Can't find a single fossil. You know why? Because they were left to rot. See, when something dies in the open, and it's left to rot, you won't find a single fossil. You need catastrophism. Something needs to be covered rapidly. Okay? Now, when you find this many fossils, this is a worldwide event. Literally, there's billions of them. You find them, and I have DVDs. I have them. You literally have graveyards of them. You have dinosaurs, it looks like, with their necks broken. Their necks, and they have long necks. Something did that. These things had their necks broken. There was some serious force to kill these things, this is serious. Any animal, whether coming from the sea or whether coming from the land, would be extinct before the transformation is finished. And I believe that. And I say any honest evolutionary scientist, and I have some on DVD. And if I ever have to do this again, I'll do it. Then finally, I speak about microevolution. This is the only one that's true, but really it's called speciation. Okay, this I agree with, and this is what Darwin observed. Okay, big beak, little beak, still a bird. Animals and humans have the ability within our DNA to adapt. There are many species of dog. They're all dog. They can't breed with anything other than dogs. It's the same with every kind of animal on the planet. Now, the evolutionist always says, what is a kind? That's their big deal. I don't know why creationists fight with this. What is a kind? Okay, it's pretty simple. If the animals can breed naturally, they are of the same kind. Okay, now it is true. Okay, that for instance, there's a rabbit in Florida. Okay, that can breed with a rabbit in the middle of the United States. Okay, and there's a rabbit in Alaska that can breed with the rabbit in the middle of the United States. But the rabbit in Alaska and the rabbit in Florida, they can't breed. Okay, it's kind of strange, but they're still rabbit. Okay, they're still a rabbit. So that's, but when you look at them, it's the appearance. Okay, what is it? Bunny. Okay, it's a rabbit, man. All right. There are many kinds of animals, and from those animals, due to their incredible flexibility of our DNA, millions of species have made this planet their home. Okay, that's pretty much the story to that. Okay, the truth is, and I can go maybe I will do another eugenics video. Okay, Evolution is a religion. It's the religion of secular humanism. It's the religion of atheism. Um, it's a faith. Okay, that's all it is. I don't know why they just don't admit it. They want to call it science. It doesn't do anything. It hasn't done anything. I mean, really, can somebody email me really and tell me give me a medicine or a vaccine or something, really, something good. I don't want some BS. Some medicine, something positive, some life-saving antidote or something that is done for the human race, other than give six-figure salaries to professors. And I'm going to be honest with you. I joined. I had sent to YouTube. I just asked a simple question I watched a video. I actually have it on our Me and Pastors channel. I'd asked a simple question, and man, I'll tell you what, I got the meanest answers. I mean, cussing at me and telling me how stupid I am and how wrong I am. They act like I don't know what I'm talking about, And the whole thing is that you win right away when that's how you get treated. When people, that's how they act. I mean, this is how they represent themselves, evolutionists, by calling people names. Man, I tell you, this is what you know. I mean, this is how I'm looking for a serious answer. I'm looking for listen. If you have a serious, if I come on with a serious question, I'm not trying to be, your enemy. I have a serious question, and I'm trying to understand. That's all. Help me to understand something. Give me some insight. Because, I've listened to all kinds of professors, and to be honest with you, there's not a single one of them that I can't refute. None. And sometimes if I put a question out there, maybe there is somebody out there, it doesn't have to be a professor. Somebody might just know. So I'm willing. My ears are honestly open. And so if I ever do that again, hopefully somebody won't be so nasty. Maybe I can get a decent result from a decent human being. But all I've gotten is mean, cruel people. Evil is what they've given me. Okay, well, I'm going to sign off for now. And again, I'm still studying my cult series. So you'll hear from me again. Okay, God bless everybody, and everybody take care.